We got a game 5 in New York tonight, and when an NBA playoff series is tied at 2 games apiece, typically we see the winner of game 5 go on to win the series. You want to know how typically? Well, I'm going to tell you in this video. We're going to cover the New York Knicks hosting the Atlanta Hawks, and we'll finish it off with the Portland Trail Blazers at the San Antonio Spurs. Let's get right into it. The Knicks will be a 6.5-point home favorite. The total sits at 214.5. We'll take a look at that total. Atlanta lost game 4 by a score of 114-98. The series now tied at 2 games apiece. Both Atlanta wins in this series have come by just a single point, and both Atlanta losses have come by double digits. We had Jonathan Kuminga over 13.5 points in game 4. That was the play I gave out in the video. I actually had a small client play on that as well. He scored 10 points, played just 25 minutes, likely because he was just 3 of 10 from the field and 0 of 6 from beyond the arc. His number is now down to 12.5. And nobody had a good game for Atlanta in game 4. CJ McCollum had just 17 points. Jalen Johnson just 14 points. Atlanta struggled, and now it's a big game. Let's talk about that. In the NBA playoffs, when a series is tied at 2 games apiece, the winner of game 5 goes on to win the series at a rate of 82%. This is a big game for all the marbles, and in such games, we often see really tight defense, a slower pace, conservative approach. Atlanta is 13-7 straight up in their last 20, but just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 versus New York. And the under is 8-4 in Atlanta's last 12 versus the Eastern Conference. We got to give some credit to the Knicks. I said nobody played well for Atlanta in game 4. Well, the Knicks, they ranked number 3 in scoring defense in the NBA in the regular season. They ranked 28th in pace of play, averaging just 100.5 possessions per game. The Knicks are content to play a defensive style, and I expect to see that here tonight. New York is 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 home games. The under is 4-1 in the last 5 home games versus Atlanta for the Knicks. One concern, though, OG Anunoby has been their leading scorer in each of the last 2 games with a combined 51 points. I think they'd rather see Jalen Brunson do the bulk of the scoring, but Brunson's been a little bit off. I expect to see a low score in game 5, so we're going to take the under, and this will probably surprise you. I'm going to take the points with the Atlanta Hawks. I think this Atlanta team is an undervalued commodity, and I think this Atlanta team that we're seeing in these playoffs is not the same Atlanta team we saw throughout the regular season. I think they can hang in this game. I'm not picking them to win it outright, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a close, low-scoring game at the Garden. Before we talk about Portland and San Antonio, let me tell you about a promotion or two that we have available this summer at WagerTalk. You've probably heard about this one, the Summer Spectacular. $594 in savings, $749 gets you every play in every sport from today through August 31st from any handicapper of your choice. We know the choice is clear. There's no choice. It's got to be me, baby. Those of you who aren't aware, I cover college football on this channel every game in week 0 and week 1. I've done that 2 years in a row. We're heading into our 3rd season. You will get week 0 as part of this deal. You will also get the NHL playoffs. How am I doing in the NHL playoffs? Honey, how am I doing? 100% perfect in the NHL playoffs. First round's almost over. How about the NBA playoffs? Well, 16-6 heading into today, and that's not as good as we'd like. 16-6 is still pretty damn good, though. Overall, 202 and 158 for a profit of 64 units all time at WagerTalk. But for those of you who follow me on Twitter at Jesse Schule, you can check out the pinned tweet. This talks about my history of big wins, big profits in the NBA playoffs going back over a decade. But it's not just hockey. It's not just NBA playoffs. Major League Baseball, the number 1 profit handicapper at WagerTalk since 2022 with 4% and 5% MLB plays. And we got the World Cup this summer. I was the #1 handicapper in the World Cup last time, 71% with all my picks in the tournament. I'm also the #2 all-time profit handicapper in the sport of soccer here at WagerTalk. There's a lot of sharp guys that know a lot about soccer at this website. And for me to be #2, I'm pretty proud of that. I'm joined by Ben Burns, who is #2 to no one. He's never lost a 5% play in the sport of soccer. I'm guessing he'll have 1 or 2, maybe even more 5% plays in the World Cup. And you can get me and Ben, both of us, for just $299. That gets you every soccer play from today through the end of the World Cup. You can get that only at picksandparlays.net, my page or Ben's page. Man, you're probably sick and tired of hearing me promote myself. So let's talk about the Portland Blazers at the San Antonio Spurs. Portland lost game 4 by a score of 114-93, but they had a 58-41 lead at halftime. Guess who had them for the first half? That's right. We had plus 6.5 for the first half. Lucky there. At Villa, 26 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 2 of 3 from the 3-point range. And I had said when this series started that if they continued to put his number out at 23.5, that I would keep betting it until he stopped scoring or until they bumped the number up. And he did stop scoring. He went under in back-to-back games before going over in the last game. You got to be concerned about Portland. They were outscored 73-35 in the second half of game 4. Portland now just 4-16 in their last 20 games as an underdog, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 versus the Southwest Division, and under in 9 of their last 13 overall. Wembanyama returned from his concussion protocol, and I said in my analysis for my play on Portland for the first half, I said, yeah, maybe Wemby comes back, but if he does, I don't think he'll play 35 minutes and score 30 points. Well, he scored 27 points on 9 of 17 shooting in 34 minutes, so he wasn't far off. De'Aaron Fox had 28 points on 11 of 17. Do you guys remember that I gave the Spurs to win the Western Conference, priced at plus 800 on WagerTalk today, about 6 weeks ago now, maybe even longer? Their current price is plus 300 to win the Western Conference. And you got to remember, they own Oklahoma City. If you saw them play Oklahoma City in the regular season, now Oklahoma City looked real good against the Suns. I'm sure the Spurs would look real good against the Suns as well. I like the Spurs heading into that matchup against Oklahoma City, whether it be in the conference final or whenever it happens. Looking forward to that and loving my plus 800 bet. The Spurs are 17-3 straight up in their last 20, 8-2 straight up in their last 10 at home. This series is over, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to get cute and tell you anything other than that. The total sits at 217.5. San Antonio is a 12-point favorite. They probably cover. No real value there for me. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. Opposite of what I said about the Knicks Hawks. This series is a foregone conclusion. I think both these teams could let their hair down a little bit, and we could see this total go over 217.5. So taking the over in the late game, taking the under in the early game, and taking the Hawks plus the points. Surprise, surprise. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. You got anything to say to me, even if it's nasty? Hit me up in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.